What up, y'all? It's Golden Spaces, an Odyssey original podcast with Justin and Nat. We are actually considering this the first podcast of the season. Everything that happened before that, before tonight, doesn't really matter. Game one was sort of an extension of preseason. There you go.
Facts.
You see it, you read it. Curry leads the way with 41 in the Warriors matchup. 122-114 over the Kings. Let's get it. You know I had to get it started early. Night from the MVP. That's right. I'm telling y'all right now, Steph getting that third MVP. Barring injury, Steph, third MVP, oldest to get it. Let's go. NBA history. What you got to say about that, Justin?
Hey, if the wins is there and the games played is there, we know his game is going to be there. So
I need
I'm
better
on
energy
board.
than that, Justin.
I'm on board with it. I mean,
If
that's
it's this, if it's that. Fuck all the ifs, yo.
That's my high energy right there.
That's your high energy. I need you to step it up more. Did you see what Wardell just put on? Did you see the display and what he just put on? Let's just remind folks, okay, Justin, because you right now, I need the energy level up. I need it up. You know what I'm saying? Stephen Curry tonight, 41 points, y'all. 73% from the field, 70% from three, 100% on his free throws. Okay. I mean, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about here with Wardell, Justin?
A monster. Scary dude. Like, he doing stuff. It looks like he about to lose the ball, and then he just like picks it up and launches it, and it just goes straight in, nothing but net. Like he meant to do it the whole time, which he obviously
14
did.
of 19.
14 19. I can't even remember the shots that he missed, to be honest.
7 of 10 from three. 6 free throws, not bad for Steph in terms of the number. I mean, this is
6 is a lot.
Yeah. Really. Yeah. I mean, this
is
a remarkable game.
One thing that we can agree upon with the CB3 edition is that they are shooting a lot more free throws as a team. Hopefully it continues. He grifts. He gets 1 or 2 grifting fouls every game. Steph starting to grift a little bit sometimes on the bringing the ball up the court and stuff. So it's leading to free throws, and this team doesn't really miss a ton of free throws, so that's going to be huge for them.
Mm-hmm. So much to get into tonight, Justin. Right? But I mean, we're starting with Steph because he is the story of the game. Excellent performance when they got a little shaky at the end. And we know that was mostly about them just feeling like they had the game, and so they stopped being careful. Some more turnovers. The Kings stepped up their aggression a little bit. D-Fox decided to D-Fox because he is on the come up and one of those dudes on the rise. So they made it a little interesting at the end. But when the ball finally went into the hands of Wardell, where it should always be in those moments, shout out to Chris Paul, but it should always be in Wardell's hands in those moments. Something good happened. The play that led to the dagger shot from Steph involved Andrew Wiggins. And I tweeted Justin because I'm not going to front. I was a little nervous. When Andrew had the ball. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I was like, this is a turnover waiting to happen. I mean, we know his handle isn't that great. He can be sometimes indecisive with his decision making, but he drew defenders, going to the basket and then passed it out to Steph, kicked it out to Steph at the 3-point line. I was shocked that happened, that he was able to make that play, complete that assist, and Steph just drilled the 3. He'd been on all night. And that was pretty much the dagger. What did you think of that play, Justin?
I tweeted about it. I thought it was a pretty good play call. I know Steve's not your guy. but that was a pretty good play call. I think they knew Sabonis was going to be on Wiggins. They knew 2 was going to go with Steph, so it was going to create like a delay. And then the reverse effect would happen where both would react to Wiggins going to the basket. Steph would get open. So it was a good play. I mean, they were hard doubling Steph from like the third quarter on to the end of the game. So
and he still had 41.
Still have 41.
and still shot
I
70%
I'm
overall and from three.
I'm telling you, I can't remember what shots he missed, but hey, he owns the Kings. I mean, he owns a lot of franchises, but he really owns the Kings. They were showing some stat like his last, I don't know, 15 regular season games against the Kings or whatever it is. He's like 14-1 now, something crazy. So the king of NorCal, or the king of California, but especially Northern California.
Yeah, for sure. Look, I'm happy that it involved Wiggs. I'm happy one game after he was benched, basically at the end of the game, that Kerr trusted him to be
Mhm.
out there on the court. So I'm sure that felt good for Wiggs. And he was aggressive from the start of this game, grabbing boards, taking more shots. Not that they were all going in, but he was just, I think, way more assertive in this game.
He was. I believe he had 1 rebound last game. He had 5 this game in 27 minutes. So like didn't play like crazy amount of minutes, still was very productive. 3 assists, 2 blocks is another good indicator that he's being aggressive.
Mhm.
Would like to see him going to the rim a little bit more.
Yeah.
They featured him, but he was kind of settling for jump shots a little bit. I
Mhm.
think his jump shot rhythm will come back as the season goes on, but you can always
Agreed.
get an easy layup. He did have one play where he went straight into JaVale's chest and just like knocked him over, just laid it in. I'm like, man, you can do that every time you catch the ball, bro. But it'll come along. Wiggs will have like a good stretch of games where he's playing like at his absolute best, and um, he's one of those players that has his valleys and peaks and stuff like that. So
For
we should
sure.
yeah, it was a good game today though.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good game from a number of guys, right?
Mhm.
Where would you like to start? Would you like to start with your guy Moses Moody, who had the highest plus minus tonight?
We can start with Moody. Moody's always gonna be ready. He's consistent. Always gonna be ready. Stay ready. Defense, both ends, hidden shots. He's not scared at the moment. Um, yeah, he's just a big time player. It's Moody and Kuminga. Like I've been on the train since the off season. I said they're gonna make a leap together. I like to make the joke that they're going to be like Danny Green and Kawhi from the 2014 Spurs. That's kind of like the identity this team has to kind of take, though, right? Like that Spurs team didn't have anybody like Steph on it, but like as far as everybody else, just a lot of depth. Everybody playing almost an equal amount of minutes, and then like it's just death by 1,000 cuts. Like a bunch of guys that can kill you, a bunch of guys that can hit threes and score and play defense. So I'm thinking this has kind of got to be their run or their version of that run. But yeah.
Um, I saw someone tweet that Moody's coming for the starting spot. I don't think that will happen, but
Shout out to Nana. Shout out to
oh,
Nana for tweeting
I
that.
didn't know that two people tweeted it. Well, I wasn't even talking about Nana. So Jason Battle, another friend of the show. So can Moody at any point work his way into the starting lineup? Not necessarily this year, but in their future?
I think so. I think his ceiling is a elite level 2-way player, right? Scorer and defender. He's not necessarily, well, I won't say never, but at this point in time, he's not like a lockdown one-on-one guy, but he's an amazing team defender. As we've seen, he's gotten like 5 steals in the last 2 games or in their first 2 games of the season. Just being in the right place, right time, incredibly long arms, good instincts. So I think for sure he can be a starter. I think maybe best case scenario, fringe all-star type of player at his peak. So yeah, starter is definitely in his future at some point.
Yeah, you can imagine there's a potential he may start some games this season, especially when they have those back-to-backs, Clay rest nights. You have to
Mhm.
figure that he's a potential guy they might look to,
Definitely.
depending on the matchup.
I mean, he's other than Clay, he's the only wing that's like a legitimate shooter. Like there's guys that can hit shots, but he's the only other shooting wing on the team. So he's gonna have to play a lot, and he's definitely gonna have to fill in for Clay if Clay's not playing.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned Kuminga.
Monster. He's coming along, making better decisions. Like he'll still have his moments, and I think it's good for Steve to continue to show that he trusts him, because he'll have his moments where he turns it over or makes a bad move or something like that. Steve just keeps going to him. He went to him at the end of this game again because they just needed a little bit more athleticism on the court, instead of Looney, and he came down with some big rebounds at the end, and you know, just a good player. He's getting so much smarter every game, and then even on he's one of those type of players that you look at the end of the game and his box score, he somehow has 12 points, 5 rebounds. He was a +9, just super athlete, and his athleticism is usually felt when you see him out there. You always see him somehow involved in a play, whether he's jumping for a rebound or something, or above the rim. He had a nasty putback earlier. So he's learning how to use his gifts to the betterment of the team. So
we saw an appearance from Trace tonight.
Trace he's in that Moody camp. My guys under my wing. I gotta keep amping them up. They my guys.
Not our guys, your guys.
My guys.
Nah, you don't get to own all of them. You can have Moody.
It's just Moody and Trace. It's just
you can have Moody. I have Kuminga, and we share Trace.
All right, that's cool. That's cool.
Okay.
Yeah, Trace is going to work his way into the rotation. I think he's going to eat into Dario's minutes, because Dario is kind of a disaster defensively right now. He's waiting on Draymond to get back, but in the meantime, like I said, I think Trace can do a lot of the stuff that Looney can do, but he's just athletic. You know, like Looney is obviously one of the best rebounders ever. He's a better screener at this point in time, but Trace can legitimately finish at the rim. He runs fast in transition, and he can challenge shots at the rim. Like Fox tried to score a layup once. I think he affected that shot. I want to say he had another block after that. Only played 5 minutes, was a +7. I mean, he went out there and he made an impact immediately. He was a part of that big run that they made in the third quarter. I think he can his minutes can only go up. And I don't think we'll have an issue with Steve playing him, because he's 24 already. Right. So it's not like he's super young.
So speaking of Loon, another player that owns the Sacramento Kings, much better game from him tonight than we saw in game 1.
Mm-hmm. He owns that Sabonis matchup. I mean, Sabonis can have his 19 and 18 rebounds, 7 assists, whatever. That's a pretty good stat line, but it's very clear that Loon affects the game much more when they're playing. Just defensively, much smarter, set screens, does all these things.
And how about that dunk from him tonight?
Shook Sabonis right out of his shoes. Nasty cross. He looked like high school Looney right there with the crossover, and then got to the rim, dunked it. Loon he's one of those dudes that plays himself into shape. So he's getting there.
Really? But I mean, I felt like we were seeing videos of him all summer. Wasn't he like on the beach or doing some wild workouts?
I don't know about that, but he might have been.
You don't know about that? You didn't see those posts?
I didn't see those posts.
They definitely were. It was like one of them Steph kind of workouts. I want to say the desert, but I don't think he was in the desert. I think it was like on a beach. Yeah. No,
I'm not saying he out there like not doing anything, but I think the speed of the game, he got to get his feet used to it, early in the season. I specifically remember, was it last season? Not last season.
Yeah, he was on one of those open runs.
He's always at the Rico Hines runs, because he went to UCLA.
Okay.
But, I mean, he might just be slow. Like, he's just a slow guy. But he knows how to use his body. He knows how to use his footwork and stuff like that. He started the game a little weird, but he got into it. His stat sheet is filled on here as well. 3 steals, 1 block, 6 assists. Just a good, smart player. So Loon is our guy.
Yeah, it's not showing in the plus minus tonight, probably due to like some of the lineups, but I still thought Gary was impactful. And I've seen a lot of tweets, which rightfully so I understand. We really do need him to get his corner 3 back. But he still was just impactful defensively. He was disruptive. He's just, but getting his shot back would be nice. For
sure. He ended up hitting 1. I think they showed a clip during the game of Steph telling him to keep shooting, like it's mental, stay confident. I think it's a rhythm thing. As the season goes on, he'll be more in rhythm. Yeah. He's everywhere on defense. Like he almost alone can anchor a defense, which is weird because he's so short.
Mm-hmm.
But his energy, he's chasing stuff down, his ability to close out at full speed and then not get blown by. Like he can still just recover and move with the offensive player is crazy because usually you see guys sell out completely, try to block a shot, block a three, and the dude just pumps fake and just gets to the basket. But Gary is never out of the play, which is super valuable. Um, Always in a guy's handle. He's just, he's Gary. Like we already know what he can do. It's just a matter of him staying healthy, getting that rhythm, and then they just keep churning out these wins. Like
For sure. Thoughts on Chris Paul and Klay Thompson tonight?
both good. Chris Paul controlled the game. I mean, 12 assists, 3 turnovers. Two of them were like at the end of the game. I think he had three
Yeah, trying to
steals.
get the ball in.
Yeah, like stuff like that. Um, he's shooting that midi. The thing with Chris Paul is like he needs a little bit of space. Like it's Clay too. They're both older, slower, so they can still shoot. They just need more space to get their shot off. Like they're not going to just sit up here and shoot a bunch of contested shots and expect to make them all. Well, Clay might, but like it's not realistic for us to expect them to make a bunch of contested shots. And neither one of them are at the point in their career where they can just beat guys off the dribble and just, from a standstill, create their own shot and get open like Steph can. So they need screens, they need space, they need guys to pull defenders away from them. So they got a little bit of that tonight, and shots went in. Like that's the name of the game with Clay. If he gets open shots, he's gonna hit them. If he gets guys staying with him because he can't create separation, but he still shoots it, that's when his numbers start to look bad. But he didn't force anything. He only took 12 shots. Chris Paul, 12 shots. So I like what I saw from both of them. They held up better than I thought they would defensively this game. I mean, 114 to the Kings in pretty much a shootout, and then the Kings scored like what, like 15 in the last 6 minutes or something. Like
Yeah.
for the majority of this game, they've held up defensively, which is super encouraging because we got Draymond coming back too. So it's kind of falling in line to what I thought they can be defensively, which is an elite team on defense. And yeah, it starts with those old dudes buckling down, boxing out, and playing defense, and they've been doing it.
Facts. I was just really happy to see Trace tonight because we mentioned him last episode, and then Kerr utilized him. So that was good to see. The only other person I'd really like to see at some point soon is Pods. I'd like to see how he will come in and play now in some real NBA action. So
if these dudes can finish a game, they was up almost 20. They should have been up 25, and then the benches should have emptied, but they let them back in the game.
Yeah, but I mean, I want to see him in like meaningful minutes too, is what I'm saying. Like the way we saw Trace today.
Yeah, I think somebody's have to be playing terribly for that to happen. I feel like, unfortunately, I mean, it's just the reality of having Steph and Chris Paul. It's like 0 point guard
the night, maybe when some guys are out. So
yeah, maybe on this back-to-back coming up, we'll see some pods, a lot more Trace. Hopefully Trace's minutes go up. I think he played because Dario got into foul trouble, but Dario's going to be in foul trouble.
And he was impactful, so I think that's going to register with them.
Sees that. Yeah. So
for sure.
And he provides a different look. Like in the NBA, centers, unless you are a superstar, centers have to be like play very specific roles. You got your lob big, you got your screener, you got your stretch big. With the Warriors, they have Draymond and Looney, who are more like connectors, screeners and connectors, and Dario's a stretch, but they don't really have a lob big. So they got to let Trace be that, like the role big for the rim, which is what Wiseman was supposed to be. Trace can fill that role now. And against certain matchups, he can be super impactful.
Well, they talked about Trace even in the offseason, and it did seem like they plan to utilize him. Like, I don't think he is a rookie that they plan to like just not use. So I just think Pods was someone who I thought, and he probably still will, just to keep him active, go to the G League. But I think he was someone who they probably expected that he was gonna be in the G League, and he made a statement in preseason. So he just has made it interesting.
Yeah. Um, hopefully he gets whatever rotation Corey Joseph was going to get next, respectfully. And I like Corey Joseph. I like Corey Joseph, but
With
I
all due
mean,
respect, Corey Joseph.
yeah, with all due respect, like we just want to see Pods. Like he needs to develop. He's going to be here long term. Corey is not. He's also
Right,
just probably better than Corey at this point. So we just want to see Pods.
for sure. All right. Well, I think that was a pretty good game recap, right? I mean,
Mhm.
yeah. What else can we touch? The Warriors, they, like we said, they got a little silly at the end of the game, but overall they got the W they needed. They're 1-1 with a number of other teams in the league, Lakers, Suns, Clippers. So they're where they need to be in terms of the West. And even though they should be 2-0, we're in a good spot. Got their first road win. Steph noted that early in the season. I know they'll have to win a few more before people stop having like flashbacks of last season and thinking the Warriors can't win. I'm like, bro, like, why do you guys think the Warriors can't win on the road? Like, this is so
Right.
fucking stupid to me, but
Oh
whatever.
yeah. I mean, we just don't, as a people, don't add context to a lot of things. Like the Warriors have always been a good road team. They've always been one of the best road
Exactly.
teams in the league.
It's like
Last
Steph shooting. If you do some shit all the time and then one time you don't, I'm not looking at the one time and giving it more weight than the other.
exactly.
Like, that's
Exactly.
it.
Like, come on.
Like, let's be serious.
Yeah. And they punted a lot of road games last year just by not playing guys or just having guys hurt.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
we'll leave last year in the past.
And last year. Yeah. All right. So, Justin, I would like to talk some themes, right? So, third quarter Warriors, 2 games in a row.
They're back.
We've seen them. Are the third quarter Dubs back, Justin?
They're back. The vibes are back. Yeah, I mean, Steph is comfortable. When Steph is comfortable,
It's
he feels like he can play
it's
free.
amazing what happens when you don't punch your teammates,
That's
Like
true.
the
That's true. When the vibes are back,
vibes are back.
and it doesn't matter if it's at home or away. Third quarter come around, they figured you out, and they're going to blitz you. And it's funny because, I mean, you got Steph. Steph is going to win his minutes more times than not, especially against teams that don't have a player of his caliber on it. Like you're probably going to get blitzed in those minutes, which was what we saw today. He was a +10. Would have been more if they didn't kind of have a meltdown at the end of the fourth quarter. And then once Steph sits, you got Chris Paul coming in there, and he may not blitz you in his minutes, but he gonna win his minutes. They might win those minutes by 2, but he gonna win his minutes. So essentially, with both of those two dudes on the court, as long as other guys around them are playing their roles correctly, they should be winning convincingly. Like, and that's what we saw in the third quarter. Steph started out, got hot, and then CP3 came in, and they just like was dicing him up, and they just kind of expanded that lead. I think it was 40-19 against the Suns in the third quarter, and today it was 39-27 third quarter.
Yeah.
They just got to play better in the fourth, but yeah.
You're definitely already seeing the impact of like Chris Paul, and he's doing what we thought he would do. Like even sometimes when like they're not able to complete something, you see he's creating really good looks for some of his teammates. I mean, remember something I saw like really early in the game because it was like he passed to Kuminga, but it was just the spot and where he got Kuminga the ball, where like the possession before, like Kuminga got it, and I think he probably needed to move in a little bit more. Like Chris got it to him where he needed to be, so that way he could like score. He didn't get the bucket, but it was just better positioning, and it was just a better quality, a higher percentage shot, and so he's doing what we expected him to do.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, I think this game in particular, obviously Draymond's out, but this game is kind of indicative of like the vision of the team. Like you
Yeah,
said, like Steph 40 piece, Chris Paul double double, setting everybody up, getting his mid ranges off. Clay taking shots within the flow of the offense. He was efficient tonight. He didn't overly shoot. Wiggins aggressive towards the rim, and then the young guys coming off the bench, Kaminga, Moody. Gary's not young, but he's a high energy wing, and they just wreak havoc when they're out there. Get a bunch of steals, fast breaks, and stuff. I think that's like what this team is going to look like when they're peaking. Like all those things, and then you just add Draymond into the fold. Their defense would be even better, and all that type of stuff. So
for sure. And the whole Clay contract thing is lingering. I don't really give much credence to all these. He's going to hit free agency, blah 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 blah. Like, I feel like we talked about this in the last pod. Maybe we didn't, but like my position is just like at the end of the day, Clay isn't going anywhere.
mhm.
They're apparently far apart on the number of years. So I assume that also means like the dollars are not right either. But the thing is, like, to me, unless Clay has some crazy season, he's gonna maybe be in for a rude awakening or like, like I don't know what he's looking for, but like that contract just isn't out there, just like it wasn't out there for Draymond.
Right.
So we're hearing it's the Warriors are offering two. I mean, they gave Dre 3, but the third year is an option. It's a player option, but it's still an option. There's no way they're giving him 4. They didn't give Dre 4. He's not getting 4. So like he can throw
Mhm.
that out the window. Um, so yeah, so he would have to have like an incredible season, and that may be possible, right? It's still only 2 games in, but it'll I think be a reality check. But nonetheless, I appreciate the fact that regardless, he's not letting it impact things right now, right?
Mhm. Yes.
Which we know on some level the uneasiness with Dre and his contract last year and the talks. Somebody was going to go, and we've talked about it at length here, so we don't need to get into it again, but somebody was going to go regardless, right? And so I don't think ultimately Dre could ever be that person, but if Jordan Poole, if that incident didn't happen and Jordan Poole would have came back and like had a similar kind of season as he did the year before, even it gotten better, it would have made things very
Mhm.
interesting. It would have been a
For
different
sure.
discussion. But one of those 3 guys, Clay, Dre, Poole, was gonna be leaving. Like Joe Lacob just made it very clear he wasn't trying to pay the money. And I think that was in Draymond's head, along with Jordan being Jordan and talking and being annoying and whatever. But it impacted Dre. It is what
Mhm.
it is. That's what happened. And so I like that. And honestly, to be honest, like if Jordan was still around, it could have been a trigger for Clay too, because it wasn't as pronounced as Draymond, because Draymond actually hit Jordan, but it was a thing for Clay too. The
Mhm.
Jordan him thing. So it's unfortunate that it resulted in a young player who's so talented having to leave the team. But I think with him being gone, that'll hopefully alleviate it getting tense and the contract affecting the play for the season.
Yeah. And I think he knows like I can't gun for this contract and I have to, we got to win. Like if I show that I can be a part of a winning team, then I'll be compensated accordingly. So he's
That's
just
more valuable than you getting like numbers and da 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 and all that
exactly,
shit. Yeah.
exactly. So he understands that. At least it looks like he understands that so far. Hopefully he
Based on
just
the
keeps
first
that
2
up.
games for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
And we gotta maybe give him some more credit too for that first game. I mean, I feel like we did and we talked about it, but like, especially when you see how Katie went off the second game against the
Mhm.
Lakers, which I would actually say that him focusing so much on scoring and not trying to maybe get the others involved with a little bit more facilitation. Um,
Who, Kevin?
yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
Probably was in part why they ultimately lost that game. He only had 2 assists. You have Book out. You have be allowed. You got to get those guys more involved.
Yeah.
And he's capable of it, you know? It's not
Mm.
his first instinct, but he's capable of it. Sorry, not trying to derail this for a Kevin Durant convo, but I just thought that he needed to do that. He went off and it's easy money sniper, blah blah blah. But they still ultimately lost. And the guys the night before had just had really their role guys. You and I talked about it. We thought that like they won the game,
Mm-hmm.
for the Suns versus the Warriors. And their others got involved. And Devin Booker made sure of that. He had 8 assists and he was,
Mm-hmm.
playmaking. And so I just think Kevin probably needed to do that the next night. But that being said, he was offensively much better versus the Lakers than he was versus the Warriors. And I think we got to give Clay some credit for the way that he really helped to kind of make it difficult on KD.
Yeah, I put KD on my parlay the other night to get like 6 assists. He didn't show up. I thought he was going to do what you said he should have did. He didn't, but it's cool. Yeah, I think the Warriors are going to be a better defensive team than the Lakers. I know a lot of people don't think that because Anthony Davis is the best defender in the world. He's not. It's okay though.
You're telling me that he's going to be the DPOY, and I don't think that's happening either. And I need people to stop talking about Jaren Jackson Jr. as the DPOY
Yeah,
as well.
that should be done.
Both are disrespectful to me.
Yeah, that should be done. But yeah, I think up and down the roster, the Warriors have a better defensive team. They have like 4 all defensive level players, right? Looney, Gary, Wiggins, and then you got Draymond, who's a defensive player of the year level player. The Lakers don't have that. They got AD and they got Vanderbilt. After that, who do they really have defensively? LeBron is okay in spurts. He doesn't do it for the whole game anymore. D'Angelo Russell, not great. He's getting better, but he ain't great. Reeves ain't great. So, yeah, I think it was just a good example of that with how the Warriors guarded the Suns and how the Lakers guarded the Suns. Yeah.
Which is
So,
why they needed LeBron to play already past what his alleged minutes restriction is supposed to be.
yeah.
If you're needing LeBron to go 35 minutes every night or potentially more.
I thought they was the deepest team in the league, though. They won the offseason, remember? Rob Pelinka won
And
the
that's
offseason.
with Anthony Davis having a good game. That's with him having a good game.
That's with Book and Beal both out. But hey, deepest team in the league. They're going to the finals. They got the best team. Like, right? So
I put out a
stuff.
top 10 list for Brother from Another of my top 10 teams going into the preseason. And I had the order as Nuggets, just out of respect for the champs. But y'all know I'm all in on Golden State. But trying to be a responsible media member. So I gave Denver number 1. Again, they are the reigning champs. But I have Warriors at 2. Mm-hmm. And then I had the Celtics at 3. I went back and forth between Celtics and Bucks, but I had the Celtics at 3, Bucks at 4. To me, they're sort of like, it's going to be one of the two of them. I'm just not sure. Like on paper, I like the Celtics better, but like the Bucks have the best player between the two of them. So I'm not sure, but so I had them like 3 and 4. At 5, I had the Suns. And at 6, I had the Lakers. And they were pushing back on me. And then for 7, 8, 9, and 10, I believe I had, I think I can't remember, but I think the Heat and the Sixers in the 7 and 8 spots. And I just don't remember the order right now. And then I had the Kings at 9. And I had the Clippers at 10. I just can't leave the Clippers out. Like, if those guys are healthy, I think they're a good team. But because I still don't know about them, it's like, and the Kings, I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know if it's the Kings. I don't know if it's OKC. I don't know if it's the Wolves. I think one of these young teams, I don't think it's actually the Grizzlies this year. I just feel like losing Adams, plus you're not going to have Ja. They got too much going on. if they are still able to do that, winning with all that happening, but I
Right.
just don't see it. So, but I think one of the young teams are going to shine. I went with the Kings just in part because I'm a huge Fox fan. They took the Warriors 7. I just, but who knows? Plus, I know with the Wolves, there's been some rumors like Carl Anthony Towns trade. I don't know if he's being traded, but just, I don't know. And I think intellectually, I think the Kings have a higher IQ
Then the
as a
Timberwolves.
team than the Wolves. Yeah. But admittedly, I did overlook OKC a little bit. So it's not that I'm not high on Shea. I'm not as high on Shea as everyone else. Like some people have him as a top 10 player right now. I don't believe that I do. So I think the OKC will be better. They'll be good this year, but I haven't totally jumped onto that OKC bandwagon yet.
Yeah, they'll be okay. I think they'll definitely still be in the play-in. Just they don't have another center other than Chet. They just got and they're young.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I pretty much align with your top 10. Yeah, I mean the Kings have so much continuity. Their offense is going to be still elite. We'll see about the Mavericks. They're currently 2-0, but it's again the Luka carry us show.
Yeah,
Like it
I don't
always
believe in the
is.
Mavericks, so part of that was
Right.
just me disrespecting them, but I don't.
I don't believe in them as either. they they don't have a great team.
Yeah.
They don't have a great team. They have one MVP caliber player, another really good player, and then a few other good role guys, but their team as a whole is definitely not going to be something that's contending for playoff position. I don't think they might be in the play in, but we'll see. And yeah, I think I take the Celtics over the Bucks slightly as well, like you do. I think they match up very well with the Bucks, and I think their 5 overall is just a little bit more versatile, or their top 6 is a little bit more versatile, more shooting, all that type of stuff, more defense on the perimeter. So yeah, Nuggets out of respect, Warriors, Celtics, Bucks, Phoenix, Lakers seems about legit for me as well.
Oh, I love we're on the same page. It's validating, really, because you're such a great basketball mind. Thank you, Justin.
Clearly, you are as well.
Oh, look at this, guys.
The
Okay.
vibes is back. The vibes is back.
The vibes are definitely for sure back. So yeah, speaking of lists, I was reading this list that Yahoo put out of like tiers of like players, and they had, and we don't need to go like too deep in the tiers, but they had like they had Jokic. I can't remember if it was Jokic, Giannis, Steph, or Jokic, Steph, Giannis. I know Jokic was first. But they had them as like the first 3, but then they also had like Katie in there, Luca, and I want to say Tatum. And I had tweeted like, yeah, no, I don't agree with this. I think that the first 3 are their own tier, but I definitely didn't agree with those other guys being in tier 2. And I think I can pull it up real quick here from their page.
Right.
Can I find it really quickly? Oh, you know what? I think maybe Vince Goodwill had it on his page. Let me see. Because I was just like, yeah, Vince had it. Okay. So it's Jokic, Curry, Giannis, Luca, Tatum, Durant. Level 1. I just don't. I cannot support Luca, Tatum. I get an unwillingness to remove Katie as a tier 1 guy just because he was there for so long, but I still don't get. And look, people have been trying to elevate Luca into this conversation for a long time. I don't see how we're putting like Tatum there. I just don't think any of the three of them are still there, you know?
No.
So, and then level 2, which I think is probably really the only other level that we need to get into, was then Embiid, Shea, Braun, Butler, Leonard, and that like again, I saw a top 10 list. Shea was in there, and I don't even think he was 10. And I'm just like, guys, like this
Yeah,
is
he was
really
7 on
high
there.
to be
Yeah.
putting Shea.
Yeah, he was 7 on somebody's list, I think.
I'm just not there with him yet, you know?
No,
And
not
I
yet.
just feel like, I mean, it sucks because now Booker is out injured, but I'm like, we gotta really maybe start considering Book top 10.
Yeah. He
I
up
mean,
there.
he might be 10. Like, I keep saying, like, the 9 and 10 spots for me are like what's fluid, and a number of guys could go in there because, like, for me, I have so it's those first 3 we said. Well, Jokic, Curry, Giannis, whatever order. I'm not going to like debate order right now. Of course, I'm going to always have Steph first, but like, I think we're at a line, most people, that those are the top 3 players in the league, right? And
Mm.
then, you know, I do think Luka's in the top 10. I think Tatum's in the top 10. I think Durant's in the top 10. I think Embiid is obviously in the top 10. And I still think Braun is in the top 10. So that's already 8 players, right? After that, to me, is where you can make arguments for a lot of people. So I don't
Right.
think that Shea should be above any of those players that I just named.
Nah. Nah. Well, the thing with LeBron is like he getting up there, getting
He is,
a little long
but
in the tooth. But the best version of LeBron, Shea can't match yet because LeBron's physical profile is just
right.
it's he's 6'10" with all those physical gifts. So, but maybe on a night to night basis over a regular season, Shea's younger. He's gunning for individual performances
But
a
it's
lot
not
more
just
often.
Shea. You know, my point is more so that there's like you
Yeah,
have
there's a
Devin
bunch of
Booker
guys.
out there, you have um
You got
Jimmy
Book,
Butler out
AD.
there.
Yeah,
Is Shea better than the best version of Kawhi Leonard? I like
no,
that's what I'm saying. It's just like
okay.
I am not comfortable with how people are just like, yes, he's definitely top 10 when you have, and then there's Dame out
Mm,
there.
yeah,
I'm just trying to look at who else was on, because then the level 3 guys were like, I'll just run through them quickly, but it was like Dame, it's Dame,
AD,
Ja, Dame,
Ja,
Ja, Jamal Murray, Booker, Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Brown, Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, Paul George, Zion,
mm.
Ant Edwards, and De'Aaron Fox. I'm not convinced that Shea has separated himself from all of those guys that were in that list. Some of them, but not all of them.
I would say he separated himself from most of them.
Dame,
Not Dame. It's like a few that he did not. That's a long.
Booker,
There's a bunch of people in there. It's too many people in there because not all of them are on the same level. No, not Book.
no. And I'm sorry, but like I'm not gonna have De'Aaron Fox continue to be disrespected. He's one of them guys. He's on the way.
He on the way.
He's on the way. I personally don't see Shea as like superior to him. They're to me the same level of player.
Mm.
So and then Anthony Davis has his moments. I just so like it like I'm not someone who has Anthony Davis as a for sure top 10, but I'm just saying, and then like we got to see what Ant Edwards is going to do this year. So I would definitely do these levels a little differently, but anyway, I thought it was interesting stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like today's league is so top heavy with talent. I think it's probably the most talent at the top of the league that it's probably ever been. It's so many dudes that's like MVP caliber. I don't think it's ever been this many guys at the top.
But
Like
are
you
they
can look.
really MVP caliber? Because like then when it comes down to like the finals and not finals, but just the playoffs and who has to do it, the men sort of separate themselves from the boys. I think there's a lot of people like getting stats and numbers up, and then we see like when it comes down to it, who's really who.
Yeah, I mean, for like even a few years ago, it was what Steph, LeBron, and KD at the top of the league. Harden was kind of like next to that level, and then after Harden, it was just like who was the next
Oh, and
level
that's the
guy.
other thing. Harden is here, I think, level 4. I think he's still a level 3 guy. No, I mean he's not playing, but no, level 4. He's in here with people like Sabonis, bro.
Sabonis ain't that high. That's the issue. Sabonis is too high. I think
Brad
Harden is
Beal.
too high, in my opinion. But you can make
They do have Draymond in here. Respect for that.
yeah. I think you can make a legit case that somebody like Kevin Durant is like 8th best in the league. You know what I mean?
Right.
And KD's a legit superstar. Like Embiid
Right.
is an MVP last year. You can make a case that he's like 8th in the league. That's what I'm saying. It's like I don't know when else in NBA history where there's been guys like that many guys before
Yeah,
you
I
get
think
to
there's like
someone
the
who
top
isn't.
3, and then I think like 4 through 8. You can debate all of them.
Yeah. Depending on, I look at it like Jokic and Steph are in a tier of their own. I don't think Giannis
You
is
put
quite on
Giannis a
their
little
level.
below them. I do too,
Yeah.
but
He's like Giannis is a tier of his own because he's better than the field, but he's not as
right.
good as the two at the top, I don't think.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that group under Giannis is still crazy. Like Luka's a monster. He put up 49 tonight. Luka, Embiid, KD. Well, I don't know if Braun is still quite on that level, but that little group right there is nasty. The league is just so talented. Like somebody like Zion is like an afterthought almost because he can't stay healthy. But when he's
Right.
healthy, he's like a monster. Like
Right.
he's crazy.
Right.
So
Anyway, it'll be interesting to see how this year plays out, how the All-Stars, especially the guards in the West, play out. I need my guy De'Aaron Fox on the team, though. That's all I know. I need it.
I mean, Steph, Book, Murray,
Well, Book
Fox.
is missing all these games right now.
Book a funny dude. Because why he play? Why did he play against us?
Wait, so you played game 1? They did that because Chris Paul was playing.
That's a funny guy right there. We're gonna
I
get them
was
back.
like,
Though.
I don't remember any injuries happening to Book in the game.
Yeah. What was all after the game listening?
He's doubtful for their game tomorrow versus Utah. He didn't play tonight. You know what I'm saying? So
He's different.
and it's just weird to me because it's just like, do you really want to start so early putting all of this on KD? Because then he may not make it through your season. I get it. You got 3 guys, but you want those 3 guys to play together.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna let them rock, dude. Let's let this be Brooklyn 2.0, please. They sit in games and choosing not to play together, and their chemistry is shot. And then when they finally play together, somebody get hurt or something. I mean, I don't want anybody to get hurt, but it's
right.
Let y'all go ahead.
Or you're just overusing someone. It's like Kevin Durant's your oldest guy. You don't want him to be the one having to play and playing however many minutes he played and putting up all them shots and ice. Like that's not like, yeah, I know everyone loves KD going off, but that's not what you want if you're trying to preserve him.
Definitely not. You see the Lakers trying to preserve Braun. They trying to toe that line as much as they can.
And already went out the window with it game 2.
Yeah. Yeah. So these teams better take it serious. I mean, the Warriors are taking it serious right now. That's what I see.
Yeah.
They just need to close games better, but they're taking it serious. They should be 2-0. And then they're gonna run off a bunch of games. People gonna start paying attention to the Warriors because they still disrespecting them and not putting them in contention.
For sure.
When they win like 10 out of 12, everybody gonna be like, "Oh shit, the Warriors are good."
And they on the road and not at home, so y'all can't use that shit as an excuse.
Exactly.
With Steph building his MVP campaign.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, I just want to hit a few things really quickly that came across my timeline. One of them being, why the fuck does Rich Paul lie the way that he does? Like, honestly, it's a disease. Like, LeBron does it. And now I'm like, does LeBron get it from him, or does he get it from LeBron, or is this just like a thing they did together? Like, it's wild to me. But he, was on Club Shay Shay with Shannon talking about how he's good as a shooter. And he brought up the names of Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry to say he is as good a shooter. Just shooting. Because Shannon was like, Klay who? Like what? Like basically stop your nonsense. And he's just like, I'm only talking about shooting. Bro, you sound like a moron, with all due respect. Because first of all, just shooting is not just standing still wide open. Like when we describe people as shooters, it's because of the multiple ways that they can shoot the ball. So like the reason why Steph Curry is the best shooting is not because he gets to just be wide open, standing still, shooting the ball. That's not what are you doing?
Right.
Reggie Miller would not even say he's on the same level of Steph as a shooter. And this Negro, Rich Paul, is bringing up Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. He is putting himself in the category of conversation with the Splash Brothers. Mm-hmm. Justin.
I'd like to hope to think he was not serious.
He was asked repeatedly. Did you watch the clip?
I watched the clip. I'm gonna just assume that he was just really, really sticking to the shtick. Like he was just like, because obviously that would be moronic of him to think that. So I'm gonna give him benefit of the doubt and just say he was joking, because there's no way.
I mean, you're talking about a man who's very close friends with LeBron, and LeBron lies about everything, about beating Malcolm X. He lies about all the predictions he had for players. Like, I knew this, or I said this before happened. I mean, this man is a pathological liar. And now, I mean, can we really not put it past his buddy to also be lying?
Something funny with LeBron, like people were asking him on his live, like what his favorite soccer players was or something. And you could clearly tell he was reading names off the computer. Like, LeBron is so funny. And then they got a clip of him after the Nuggets game. They said meeting Jamal Murray's family. Did you see that?
No.
He was meeting like Jamal Murray's brother or something. He dapped him up. And then like he very clearly thought the kid was Jamal Murray, because he saw the real Jamal and kind of paused a little bit and then like dapped Jamal up. LeBron is just hilarious, man. He's just a funny dude.
He's not, but the
like
things he does, I like to laugh at him. Yes. But he's also a liar. I want to be clear. He's a liar. He's a pathological liar too.
That's true.
He lies about everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, why do you
what Jalen Ramsey say? What Jalen Ramsey say? He said, "You do be there. I heard you be capping."
Oh, yeah. Okay. And then we're talking about Kings Warriors tonight. And how crazy is it that on the eve of this game, we find out that Stephen Curry signed De'Aaron Fox, first Curry brand athlete with a signature shoe. Very dope. Very dope. I love it. I also loved his shoe. At least the little quick glimpse I saw of it looked kind of fire. I might have to cop.
Fox's shoe? Did he get a shoe yet?
He didn't? Well, the shoe they showed it was that shoe with all them colors. Those were like special. I've never seen those shoes before.
They probably like a Fox Player Edition. Like he get his own custom version of the Steph shoe.
Those were dope. Did you see them with the multicolors? I was like, I like these.
I didn't see him. I didn't see him yet, but
in the video, they're in the promo because like they went to his feet, and I was like,
oh yeah.
I've never seen those before.
Yeah, Curry brand been putting out some nice stuff. They just gotta get their marketing up and stuff like that, and it's good to start with Fox. Never really thought about Steph and Fox having that much of a relationship until like the last 2-3 years, which is so cool to see now. It's grown to this level.
And he
Hopefully he
always
can get
spoke
some more.
highly of Steph, always.
Always, yeah. The Warriors in general, he's always. I mean, he's a pretty respectful guy, but he's also super competitive. So it's kind of like it's good to see both. You know, like when he
He's a
gets on that
student
court,
of
he's
the
trying to
game,
kill.
though.
Hmm.
Fox gets it. I'm telling you,
He does.
like, I just think that it's the Kings and the Fox next. I don't think it's the teams who people think are next. It's like, it's just the way he talks, the
Hmm.
way he approaches the game. Even today, like, I mean, the Kings didn't win, but he started going toe to toe with Steph. Like he's
He's
one of them. He's one of
nasty.
those dudes.
He is. He is nasty. I mean, like you let him get to his spot, and now he's. I mean, he's shooting at three with much more confidence, just jump shot in general. Once they get rid of Sabonis, that team is going to go elevate to the next level. If they can turn Sabonis's contract into players that are more so winning players in a playoff setting, they're going to be scary. Because even Malik Monk he's gotten so much better as a ball handler and passer and stuff like that off the bench. Yeah, Keegan makes a leap. They get rid of Sabonis. They're going to be right in the mix.
For sure. Well, guys, Steph said night night on the Kings, and it's time for me and Justin to say night night because it is 2:00 in the morning here on the East Coast, and I got to get my beauty sleep. Justin needs to, prepare for his women. So,
Whoa! What
I just
are we doing?
be making up rumors about Justin.
This is
So
crazy.
whoever, if he has a lady, whoever she might be, please don't pay attention to me. I just like to mess with Justin.
This is crazy. I actually have a train these girls in basketball. They're like 12, 13 years old. One of them listens to the pod now. So if you listen to this, don't pay attention to that.
And not to that, but some women be crushing on Justin though. That's true. They'd be like, "Ooh, Justin." They'd be sending me the heart eye emojis.
Embarrassing.
I love to bring it up because it makes Justin blush, and we really get smiles out of Justin, and he's so serious face. So we got to do it to break things up a little bit. Did they see the videos of you dancing? Did you share those tweets with them? Well, bopping your head.
No, I didn't share that.
You don't remember that one? And the other one when you were singing, was it Elton J?
No, I don't remember that.
Those.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember none of that?
Nah.
Y'all check my timeline. Check the Golden Spaces pod timeline. Okay, they're there. They've been tweeted. It's Justin. It's bloopers. It's Justin. It's outtakes, that don't make the show, but it's Justin out of his element. You know what I'm saying?
Time for bed.
The people need it, Justin. They want to see it.
Hey.
All right, Justin said it's time to go. So no, for real, y'all. Thank you for tuning in. Dubs, thank you for bringing the vibes back. Shout out to all the guys. Shout out to me for the way that I've embraced Chris Paul.
Yeah, I'm proud of you.
Now, only if Draymond could get back on my good side, that would be a much bigger task. But
we're moving in the right. Yeah. The final step is Steve. The final step is Steve. That's the boss.
Yeah,
the boss.
I see too much. Too much.
Chris, Dre, Steve. Yeah. The final step is if
Chris might just be where we stop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Chris.
Or maybe all you're gonna get me with Dre. Kerr, not happening.
All right.
It will not happen. Guys, we will be back. But we appreciate you tuning in. Please follow us on Golden Spaces Pod, at Golden Spaces Pod on Instagram and X, formerly known as Twitter. Make sure you're subscribed and following our podcast. Make sure you're leaving us great positive reviews, giving us a 5-star rating. Make sure you are subscribe to 95.7 The Game's YouTube channel, where you can find our show and watch it if you're not listening on audio. that's where new episodes appear. So subscribe so you're alerted the moment that we drop a new episode. We're so appreciative of your support. Until next time, take care.